Hey Farr fam, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it is just me today, and I'm going to be talking about our past stay at the Disney World Hotel, Port Orleans. As you guys know, me and Carter are Disney fans. We love going to Disney World. We love taking our nephews to Disney World. And every time we stay at a Disney resort, we like to do a little review so that it may help some of you out there that are looking for your right Disney hotel to stay at. And I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of staying at Port Orleans. So first, I want to give a little bit of a backstory to our trip to kind of help give you some information. We stayed back in March 2024, so not that long ago. And we stayed at the Riverside section. Port Orleans has two different kind of hotels in one. They have Riverside and they have French Quarter. Now, both sides are fantastic. They're very similar. I think that they have different shops and things like that and different restaurants, but they're pretty much the same, and you have access to both. So we stayed at Riverside and we still went over to French Quarter and we had access to everything at French Quarter. We went in March and it wasn't that busy, surprisingly. It was right before spring break. But it wasn't that busy. We did book in advance. I would say we probably booked it in about January. We booked it and then we went in March. So it wasn't too bad. Maybe we even booked in December, but it was not like we had to book it years in advance to get a spot. Also, me and Carter, we took our two nephews here. So there was a total of 4 of us staying at this resort in our room. I wanted to clarify that I said that because that way you know like how many people fit in our room and how spacious it was and everything. Okay, so let's get on with the pros and cons. So starting with our pros, we're gonna talk about probably my favorite part, and that is the theming of this resort. It is so magical. It has Port Orleans feel, like Tiana and the Bayou, and it is just amazing. This is honestly one of my favorite resorts to stay at with the theming alone. Our room was Tiana. It was very New Orleans, and it just, every little nook and cranny of this place was themed to perfection. The lobby, the pool, everything was themed amazing, and it wasn't run down or anything. Everything was freshly updated. Everything felt new and bright, and it was just amazing. It really made the trip so great. Now let's talk about room size. So like I said, there was 4 of us in there and we purchased the preferred room. This had the extra pull down bed that came from the wall kinda. But it was really, really cool. Instead of a dresser, we had that. So if you did get a regular room, there would be a dresser there most likely. But instead, we had the little pull down bed for our nephew Oliver, who is 6. He's 6 now, he was 5 at the time. That was a perfect size for him. Our other nephew, Jace, who was 10 at the time, is now 11. He could have easily slept in that bed as well. I think if you're an adult, I think the bed would be kind of small, so I suggest having it for kids. But we did that as a fun little touch. We thought that Ollie would really, really enjoy it, and that way Jace also got his own bed, which he absolutely loved. So the room had 2 standard queen beds and then the pull down bed. So it can sleep up to 5 people. If we had another person, they could have easily slept in the bed with Jace. We only had 4. We wanted to have just that extra bed, like I said. The size of the room was great for us because we weren't in it that often. The only times we were really in it was to sleep, and then also when we took our midday break from the parks or anything, we came back from swimming, we would just relax, and it was the perfect size. Honestly, we didn't need anything bigger. We weren't cooking meals. We didn't need to have a fridge fully stocked of food. We were only there for 3 days. We got there Saturday morning and we left Tuesday morning. So we weren't there for like a whole week. Maybe if you were there for a longer week, you'd need more room. But for us, it was the perfect size room. The next pro are the pools. So there are multiple different pools. So at Riverside, they have the main pool that has a slide, and it has a little kiddie pool that Ollie really enjoyed that was super shallow that he got to swim around in. and then they have a gigantic pool that wraps around, and there's like this little fountain thing, and then there is the slide that the kids spent 90% of the time on. The great thing about this, lots of Disney pools actually, I think all of them pretty much, they are at a certain height where you don't need a lifeguard up there to tell you when to go. They have a light that has green or red, and when it's green, then you can go down the slide. There obviously are lifeguards at the pool, but there isn't one at the top. And the kids just whipped around. Even Carter was on it too. I've been on the Animal Kingdom one that is literally the same, and you can easily go as an adult, but the kids absolutely love it. It's the perfect size. It's not too big, it's not too small. And the kids were just flying through there. It was such a great aunt moment watching them because they were just having so much fun on it. So if you have kids, this is a great option because there is a slide, there is a kiddie pool and things like that. Also, there is a pool bar attached to that one. Now there is also a standard pool like you would have at your normal hotel. It does not have a slide or anything. But when that pool got super busy, we would go to the normal pool that had like no one, and the kids got to throw the football around, and it was really fun. The other pool is at French Quarter. So like I said, those ones are at Riverside. Now this one at French Quarter also has a slide and a big pool as well, and it also has a little splash pad. Unfortunately, when we stayed there, that was under construction, so we didn't get to check it out, but I will insert some pictures I found online, and it looks really fun, but unfortunately we weren't able to use it. And that being said, this is not a pro or a con. This is just kind of something that happened, and I want to give it as a tip to you guys to make sure you check the website, because we didn't know that it was under construction until a couple days prior to going. So make sure that you check the website to make sure there's no construction, because that might affect if you want to stay at a certain hotel or not. Not even just Port Orleans, but Caribbean Beach Resort, Pop Century, whatever it may be. Since that was closed, our pool at Riverside was way more busy. So that's also something to think about if you're like, okay, well, we're not staying directly at the same one, because we were like, okay, well, the French Quarter's under construction, but we're staying at Riverside. But that made us over at Riverside have more people because French Quarter pool was closed. So just keep that in mind when you are searching for a resort to stay at. Make sure there's no construction. The next pro that I want to talk about is the activities. This resort has so many fun activities for you and your family to do, whether you have kids, no kids. If you're older, younger, it doesn't matter age, there's so many things to do, such as the arcade. The arcade, the kids loved. The only downside is that no one like works in there. It's kind of just play at your own time, whatever. And there's no prizes, there's no tokens, there's no tickets, nothing like that. But it is fun to go and do something, especially if it's rainy outside and you want an activity for your kids to do. It's just fun to play. You won't get any prizes, but it's still fun. Another great activity is the pool games that they do. The lifeguards will go and start all these fun games. We actually didn't do it at Port Orleans, but we did at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Ollie had to like grab stuff and put it in a bucket, and then they won a prize, and it was really fun. But they do that at every Disney hotel. So yeah, I just love that little touch that they do because Ollie really, really loved it. Another great thing to go along with the pool is the pool bar. They have great snacks, great drinks. So if you're spending the whole day at the pool, you don't have to leave to go get food. It's right there at the pool bar. A couple more activities is the yard games. They have yard games set up everywhere throughout the resort, like big checkers, beanbag toss, things like that. The kids love doing that, and it's a great activity to do in between swimming and going to the parks. My last activity that we really wanted to do, but we honestly didn't have enough time, is the fishing. You can actually go and pay to fish at Port Orleans, and you kind of rent a fishing pole, and you can, I think there's bass in the lake. I could be wrong, but there's some fish in the lake that you can fish. Obviously, fishing fish, that's what that is. But we wish we would have done it because the kids love fishing, but we just didn't have enough time. So you should go ahead and check that out. Okay, so the next pro. When I said that the theming was my favorite, I lied. My favorite is the beignets. I think this is the best place to get beignets over the parks, over Disneyland. I think Port Orleans French Quarter has the best beignets. Oh my goodness. Me, Carter, and the kids, every time we go to Port Orleans, every time we go to Disney World, whether we're staying at Port Orleans or not, we go get them. And it was just awesome being able to wake up and go walk to get beignets instead of having to take a bus and getting over there. It was nice staying at the resort that literally had them right there for you. So we actually went a couple times and got some. We got one for a snack, and then we got some for breakfast one morning. And this alone makes you want to stay at Port Orleans. Another great pro for staying at Port Orleans is that you can take the boat to Disney Springs. We didn't do this because on our last day when we were driving, we just stopped on the way to Disney Springs, but we didn't get to take the boat. Even though we would have loved to, we just didn't have the time because we were driving to Cocoa Beach right after, so we just took our car. But you can take the boat to Disney Springs and spend your day at Disney Springs, and I think that's kind of a fun touch other than the bus and the Skyliner, is to be able to take the boat. Now, our last pro can also be a con depending. So a pro is that Port Orleans is close to Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Disney Springs. So if you were going to Disney Springs, Epcot, or Hollywood Studios, your resort is very close. The nice thing about Port Orleans is it's kind of central. It's kind of in the middle. So we stayed at Port Orleans and we went to Animal Kingdom. That was the park that we went to in those 3 days. And it was fine. It was a bit longer of a bus ride, but it honestly wasn't even that bad. So you don't have to go, but if you are like, we want to go to Epcot and Hollywood Studios and Disney Springs, this resort is perfect for you. Okay, so there were so many pros, but unfortunately there are a few cons. Not many, because we absolutely love this resort, but there are a few cons. Just for you to know, this might not necessarily be a con for you. I think it just depends on your family, you, what you guys are going to do, and what you guys are able to do, which you'll see what I mean in a second. So my first con is this resort is pretty big. Now, most Disney resorts are big. So if you have someone that can't walk very well, you know, who doesn't want to be walking all around to go to the lobby and all that, this may not be it for you. Unless you're right next to the lobby, but you can't always guarantee it. I would suggest renting one of those little buggy things. But this resort is big, but honestly, every Disney resort is big. So it's kind of not really a deal breaker for us, or, you know, because it's at every resort. Every resort is big. Another thing to go along with that is that make sure when you book, if you do have to have wheelchair accessible, or maybe elderly can't walk up the stairs, make sure you ask for an accessible room. So with these rooms, they have 2 floors. So they have the main floor, which is great if you can't walk upstairs. That's awesome. But then they also have a second floor. We were on the second floor, which was fine for us because we don't need a wheelchair or anything like that. But make sure you do ask, because these rooms do have different floors. Also, the rooms to get to your room is outside. So you don't walk through the lobby and then go up an elevator and then all that. These rooms are separate from the lobby. So such as Animal Kingdom Lodge, all the rooms are like in with the lobby. You can get to the lobby right from your room by going up and down an elevator. But for Port Orleans, that's not the case. The rooms are outside. There's no elevators in the lobby. The lobby is completely separate from all the rooms. So with your standard rooms, there are no balconies. Now, this was obviously not a deal breaker for us. We didn't really need a balcony, but just to keep in mind, there is no balcony. So if you are looking, I would look for something else, or you can get the more expensive rooms that are in a completely different building, and I think they have balconies, but they are expensive. So the standard rooms do not have a balcony. Now, this is a big con for me. Obviously, we knew this con going into it, and lots of resorts don't have this, so it's okay. But there's no Skyliner. I love the Skyliner, and we did take the kids on the Skyliner. We drove to Hollywood Studios, got on the Skyliner, did a little loop just for the experience. But it does not have a Skyliner, which a lot of the resorts do not. So if you are interested in the Skyliner, just know that Port Orleans is not a Skyliner resort. Caribbean beach resort is, which I think is pretty similar to Port Orleans. The next con is the room size. Now I did say the con, or I did say for us, the pro is that the rooms were of decent size for us. Now the con, if you are looking for a full-size kitchen, if you are looking for big glamorous rooms, the standard rooms in this hotel is not it. Obviously it had your standard mini fridge, coffee maker, table, beds, bathroom. It didn't have anything other fancier things. Now when you stay at like the other building that has the more expensive rooms, you probably have more room, but this is just based off of what we stayed at with the standard room, or we stayed at the preferred standard. Okay, so our last con is not necessarily a deal breaker or a con to us because obviously we did this, but Port Orleans is not close to Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. Like I said, we did go to Animal Kingdom and it was fine. We did it. It was great. The bus ride is a little longer, but it wasn't a deal breaker for us, but it might be for you. If you are traveling with a ton of little kids, you might not want to have the longest bus ride, especially if you are going to Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom, because those I feel like are the two big kiddie parks. So if you are going to Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom and you want to be as close as possible, you can try going to other resorts closer to that. So that is all the pros and cons from us and our family staying at Port Orleans Riverside. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and go watch our movie. I will put it down below of us actually staying at Port Orleans, and you can kind of see a little bit more of what it was like. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.